Good morning. Thank you for joining us. Last year, millions of Americans canceled their holiday travel plans, of course, because of the pandemic. But this year, things are changing. Courtney Keeley explains.
Sean Willis and his family are leaving town early for the holidays and making up for lost time. Last year, they didn't travel because of the pandemic.
So how many family members are you going to be seeing?
A lot.
He's well aware the trip comes as COVID cases are rising.
Of course, there's a little bit of concern here or there. Everybody's masked up, vaccinated up. So outside of that, I think we're comfortable.
Whether by plane, train, or automobile, AAA predicts 109 million people will travel during the holidays, 28 million more than last year.
This holiday travel season is going to feel like a pre-pandemic travel season.
Andy Gross from AAA says airline travel is expected to see a 184% increase over last year.
So there will be lines at the airport. So our advice is get there early.
Along with longer lines, vacationers can expect higher prices this year.
Ticket prices during Christmas week are 5% higher than last year. Rates at mid-range hotels are up 36%, and rental cars are costing 20% more.
Everything is just going to be a little more expensive this year. The one area where prices have been sliding recently is gasoline.
The national average for a gallon of regular unleaded has dropped 9 cents in the past month. Drivers may be getting a break at the pump, but there is expected to be plenty of traffic. AAA predicts 100 million Americans will hit the road for the holidays. Courtney Keeley, CBS News, New York.
Well, traveling alone can be stressful, but throw in children in the mix and you may think twice about leaving home for the holidays. But a well-known pediatrician says travel with young children doesn't have to be overwhelming. Mandy Gaither has some tips to keep your stress level in check.
They say getting there is half the fun, but getting there is half of the challenge also when you're traveling with young children.
From airport anxiety to flying frustration, leaving home for the holidays can take a toll on your mental health, especially when traveling with kids.
You're taking a young child to an environment that they don't know. Everything is new. Smells are new, sights are new, dangers are new.
If you're flying, pediatrician Dr. Harvey Karp says set realistic expectations. Remember, traveling with young children is different than when you're alone. Keep kids entertained, have a bag of snacks and toys they haven't seen before so they stay interested. And pay attention to their ears. A change in pressure can cause discomfort.
Having something for your child to drink is really one of the best things that you can do.
Once you've landed, make the child's environment familiar. From stuffed animals to a favorite blanket or a noisemaker, bring what makes them comfortable at home.
The more you can reproduce the things that they're expecting, the better.
If you change time zones, Karp says to get as much sun exposure as you can during the day. It'll help little bodies get acclimated to new surroundings and maybe help keep your holiday spirit shining bright. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
All right, now, and to add to that, if your child has a hard time sleeping away from home, Karp says to talk to your doctor about the use of melatonin. He says it can help children over the age of 3 get those all-important Z's. Well, the coronavirus pandemic has led some healthcare providers to rethink how they are delivering care. Instead of patients coming to the doctor's office, they're reaching them where they live, especially in underserved neighborhoods. Natalie Brand shows us how a special community health van is helping drive the mission by visiting popular places to make patients feel comfortable.
Drawing a crowd with good food and live music, this Maryland farmers market also offers preventative health care on the side.
All done.
Mai Bangora came to shop. She left with an extra shot of COVID-19 protection.
I have been thinking about getting my booster for the past month, but this is really good.
It's convenient and potentially life-saving for people who don't have easy access to a doctor's office for vaccines or routine checkups.
The one thing we noticed that through the pandemic is that people stopped going to the doctor regularly, and they have been recently coming to our emergency rooms for things like uncontrolled hypertension and uncontrolled diabetes.
The Luminous Health team is rolling out preventative screenings with this mobile van to reach people in their communities. Healthcare provider Alexandra Moran says Emilsa Mendez hasn't seen a doctor since 2019.
She has family history of
both diabetes and hypertension.
Mendez says it's been hard to find in-person appointments. Nelson Playtez says language can be a barrier to visiting an office.
We're not speaking good English, so it's kind of hard for us. Sometimes we not understand whatever the doctor says.
The pandemic has highlighted the need to make healthcare more accessible. Settings like the market or a place of worship can help bridge the gap.
As we've been dealing with COVID, more focus on how do we keep the population healthy. If a large segment of our population is sick, it impacts everyone.
Healthcare providers say it's about building trust, and getting out and into the neighborhood can make all the difference. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Riverdale, Maryland.
A recent analysis of mobile health clinics nationwide found they serve an important role in reaching vulnerable populations. More than half of their patients were women and nearly a third were minorities. Well, some children can buy vape products because of a loophole in the law. We'll show you next on Mid Morning. All right, we're back. Some vaping products have recently managed to avoid regulation by the FDA, even as they grow increasingly popular among children. CBS's Tony DeCoble recently sat down with two men who present themselves as top executives at Puff Bar. The company makes a range of vaping products with sweet flavors. 85% of teenagers who vape use products with flavors like candy and fruit. The FDA banned flavored cartridges like Jewel Pods early last year, but thanks to an apparent loophole, Puff Bar is still on the market. Now there are new questions about why.
Nearly 2 years ago, it seemed like the federal government had put an end to flavored vaping products.
The new policy cracking down on the sale of flavored electronic cigarettes.
But today,
what are your top sellers in terms of flavors?
Probably Cool Mint, banana ice, blueberry ice.
Nick Manass and Patrick Beltran are co-CEOs of Puff Bar. The 27-year-olds live a fast life on social media.
I own Puff Bar.
And they control the biggest company in America still selling the kind of fruit-flavored nicotine products popular with kids.
People always say, like, you guys are trying to sidestep or side skirt, kind of laws. And we're not, if there's a law that would order us off the market tomorrow, we would pull our products off the market tomorrow.
In fact, the Food and Drug Administration has challenged Puff Bar before. In a warning letter last year, it told the company it did not have FDA marketing authorization required of all new tobacco products. But in February, they relaunched with what they say is a tobacco-free nicotine that doesn't fall under FDA rules.
And so you're back with essentially the same product, but the stuff inside, instead of tobacco nicotine, is synthetic nicotine.
Yes.
Pretty clever.
Yeah, I think it ended up being the better alternative.
Synthetic nicotine is created through a chemical process that does not involve tobacco leaves. So the argument is Puff Bar and any other e-cigarette that follows this model is no longer subject to the FDA's rules for tobacco products.
The FDA has just been slow and tentative, and now they're getting punked by two 27-year-olds.
Illinois Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy has been critical of Puff Bar since early 2020.
When I go to their website and I see strawberry banana and raspberry ice and banana ice flavors being sold, I know exactly who they're appealing to. It's mainly kids.
Beltran and Manass say their products are intended exclusively for adult smokers hoping to switch off cigarettes. A market they are so dedicated to serving, they argue, they had to innovate.
These loopholes have caused us to look for alternative ways to still continue to provide our consumers and customers with the products that they need.
We see more enjoyment with our product now.
We think there's definitely less byproduct compared to tobacco-derived nicotine.
What do you mean by byproduct?
Less byproduct, less toxins, less chemicals.
I'm talking just purely from an enjoyment standpoint of how people are enjoying our products.
It's cleaner.
Bunk. Total bunk. That's not why they're doing it.
Dr. Robert Jackler is a physician turned tobacco researcher at Stanford.
Would you call this a loophole that companies are rushing through to stay on the market?
It is Oklahoma land rush going through a very wide loophole.
He sees the turn to synthetic nicotine as part of a decades-long effort by the tobacco industry to evade regulations.
Every time the government brings in regulations, The industry can innovate around it. They have the smartest people to think up ways of skirting and undermining the intent of regulation.
Beltran and Menas both told us they think the FDA's worries are misplaced.
But you're not saying, hold on, let's wait till the data comes out. You're just saying, sorry, FDA, I see a way around you.
Traditional cigarettes on the market right now have the FDA stamp of approval, but those are not safe. So why should the U.S. people or the people, trust the FDA to be stamping approvals for the safety of products when the FDA knowingly is allowing cigarettes to be on the market that are killing 480,000 people a year?
The FDA doesn't technically approve tobacco products, but it does determine whether they meet legal requirements. And the agency hasn't yet taken a stand on synthetic nicotine. On its website, the FDA admits it's possible synthetic nicotine would not be regulated as a tobacco product, adding it plans to decide on a case-by-case basis.
So is the issue here the FDA or Puff Bar?
I think it's both.
Congressman Krishnamurthy says he's working on legislation to clarify the government's role in regulating synthetic nicotine.
I will make sure that it's crystal clear in the law that they should and can regulate in this area.
But Dr. Jackler says the FDA's options are already perfectly clear.
The FDA has authority to take these products off the market. If they're not tobacco products, and that's what these companies assert, then they're a drug, and they should be taken off until approved.
Why doesn't the FDA do that if it's so simple?
That is the $10 billion question.
Now, the FDA declined an interview saying, quote, the FDA is actively investigating and considering how to address such products, end quote. The FDA has pulled some 5 million e-cigarette products off the shelves in the past couple of years, and every one of them could spring back through this synthetic nicotine loophole. All right, do what you love. Good advice for starting a business. That story is ahead on Mid-Morning. All right, we're back. A Minnesota man founded an organization using horses as a form of therapy for children with disabilities, and he funds his project through donations alone, never handing any family a bill. Take a look.
I've had horses all my life, and I just was trying to think of a way to give back to the community, and I figured I could do it through horses.
Since its founding in 2015, Ride for the brand has grown exponentially, giving children with disabilities the opportunity to experience the care and love of being around horses.
Monty has opened up a world that many of the children have never ever been able to experience. So being able to come out here, come to a farm, ride a horse, go on a wagon ride, and see the tractors and play the games, it has been absolutely amazing.
Everybody's cheering on everybody's children, and yeah, definitely everybody is a community here, and everybody supports each other and their children as well. You can come into an area and they see them for who they are and not for the disability that they may have.
The horses too have a story and history to share.
Many of the horses that we use in the program were actually rescued from a rescue pen out of Cannon Falls, Minnesota. Patriarch, I guess you call it, because he's a gelding, a male horse, is Tank, and he's still with us today. He's 27 years old.
Tank and Sky are my favorite because I like them.
By the time we left that evening, we couldn't get her off the horses, and she actually talked about wanting to bring a horse home and have it in her bedroom. At that point, use a reverse walker to walk, and needed extra support. So it took a little bit more work, on their part to have extra volunteers with him and supporting him as he was walking, but
those at Ride for the brand helped Gavin to ride.
He was able to participate that summer as well. They actually have a special saddle that they use typically for him.
In Owatonna, Nick Beck, KUIC News Now.
And now here's a reminder that it's never too late to start something new. Megan McNeil reports.
For a lot of life.
See, I can feel the cardboard.
Philip Belomo has been going off of a feeling.
So I know I have to fill that in. This is one of the last paintings I did.
A feeling, a need, a drive to create.
I didn't know what an artist was. I just knew I had to draw or paint. And the minute I turned that on, I get inspired. When you get working with ceramics, I become part of the work.
For decades, he's been an artist, from a painter to a teacher and a potter. His hands and body may show age, but believe me, there's more life in them than most.
At 92, I'm going to keep going until I reach my goal. I have to hurry. At 92, I don't have all that much time.
Time is on no one's side. Something that can't be bought, but it's something that can be made. Philip may not have much of it left, but that doesn't mean he's going to stop. At 92, he's just opened up his first business.
I have to use mostly my sense of feel.
Legally blind, it's selling his ceramics he still makes.
I tell people I'm going to live until I die, which they say everybody does. No, I want to be doing something, either making pottery or cooking or dancing or doing until the end. I don't want to sit in a wheelchair waiting to die. I got a lot of living. There we go.
A lot of living. Luckily, Grace Irene saw. A tenant in the casita Philip has. They met at the perfect time. Both artists and creatives.
Nobody knew what I was doing for 45 years, making pottery. She saw a treasure that should be discovered by other people.
She just had a feeling. She wanted people to know his work, so they got to work, getting his website up and running, filing his business license, to help him reach his final dream of having his own business, eventually a factory. Time. We're never guaranteed it. We can't buy it. But we can feel it and live it, and boy, can we enjoy it. Megan McNeil, KOLD News 13.
3,000 degree temperature.
All right, when we come back, finding balance and peace in the great outdoors. Mid-morning, we'll be right back. There is an ongoing effort to help young people find a sense of normalcy after spending months indoors during the pandemic lockdowns. Well, some experts say that time outdoors can improve children's physical and mental health. Jan Crawford looks at how nature can be a form of therapy, giving kids the power to believe in themselves.
Danae Sullivan didn't always think the great outdoors were so great.
I didn't really like going outside because I didn't like bugs. So I really was terrified of things flying on me. So my best choice was to stay in the house.
Adios, amigos.
Kyla Jackson says she used to like the great indoors.
I was a homebody, to be honest. I wasn't really adventurous as much as I am now, because I explore everything now.
For the past 6 years, Danae and Kyla have participated in City Kids, a nonprofit program that works to empower children and teens by connecting them with nature.
For me, it reveals stress. Like me being outside, try not to worry about things.
In nature, you can just go away for yourself. If you're around other people, you can step away and go relax.
Danae and Kyla say they get what the experts are talking about.
Fantastic.
Kids need nature, especially after a year of pandemic lockdowns.
Kids were locked in their rooms, they were on their screens.
Yeah.
What impact have you seen that has had?
Talking, anxiety, depression. They aren't as social anymore. They're losing social skills and communication skills because they are locked up inside.
Paige McLaughlin is program manager for City Kids.
DC shut down parks, playgrounds. The message to kids was, don't go outside.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because the outdoors is so healing.
The healing powers of nature are well documented. Blood pressure, diabetes, attention deficit disorder, all improve with some time outside.
Just to walk through trees in an urban park and the symptoms of attention deficit go down with kids as young as 5 years old.
Arthur Richard Louv coined the phrase nature deficit disorder to capture what's happening in our online generation.
As a species, we are hardwired to have an affiliation with the rest of nature. We need the rest of nature. When we don't get enough of it, we don't do so well.
But most kids aren't getting it. A recent study showed kids spend only 4 to 7 minutes a day of unstructured play outside versus an average of 7.5 hours on electronic media. A study in the UK paints an even bleaker picture. Kids spend about the same amount of time outdoors as inmates in prisons. The lockdowns made it worse. City Kids also had to cancel their programs, including their annual trip to Wyoming, which aims to teach kids things like perseverance and resilience.
Ooh, I don't think I'm gonna do this page.
We do things that are difficult. So we go kayaking, we go whitewater rafting, we go camping, we go backpacking. And we do things that are hard. And
a little scary.
A little scary, absolutely scary, but attainable.
City Kids told me like never is not in your vocabulary because you could always do something. As long as you push yourself, you could do it.
The lockdowns hit these high school seniors hard.
It was really sad for me because like I even cried at my home.
You
Because
cried?
it was, yeah, I cried because like City Kids, it brings a lot of stress off.
And now, as they get ready to head off to college, they see the struggle of stepping back out into the world.
Going back into the real world and going back to your normal routine, that's been really hard.
We're used to being virtual. We're used to just seeing people on a screen.
Being at home.
Being at home, being by yourself, not really doing anything. So it became very difficult.
But they know the answer is right outside.
It's almost like an automatic switch. And you see the happiness return, you see them ready to try anything. It's really important what we're doing now because we see the healing that's happening with our children when we are able to do outdoor activities.
So it's like they come outside and it's like a switch.
Exactly. It literally is a switch.
Jan Crawford, Sandy Spring, Maryland.
Stay with us. We'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, be sure you stay connected with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll see you back here next time.